Let's see what Activision did with Blade, because it definitely didn't hit like Spider-Man.
Another rainy night in the big city, folks, which takes us into 2 straight weeks of wet weather. This is regular monsoon
Blade hanging from the helicopter?
Preventing the recent spate of mutilation murders on the south side of the city. Commissioner James has confirmed that these crimes are
Hard.
definite.
Whistler, you out there?
Loud and clear.
Not Wesley Snipes.
But I've got your back. I'll contact you when you're nearing the target.
Let's go, dog. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. I need to know how to shoot. Oh, shit. We do this, we do this. I couldn't even tell that my health was going down. Alright. I don't know, like, before cover, you just got no choice but to take these. Shit! Yeah. This shit go hard. Smoked his ass. Smoked his ass. Since it's looking shaky for that Blade movie that was supposed to be starring Mahershala Ali, and I heard Ryan Coogler shout out Blade as his favorite vampire in cinema, I took it upon myself to hunt for a copy of that Blade game that came out on PS1. This game dropped in the year 2000, published by Activision and developed by Hammerhead. I think it used the same engine as that Spider-Man game on PS1. This is 2 years after the classic movie starring Wesley Snipes was released. The first thing that I noticed is that the budget for this game was probably not as high as Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man is coming off of the 90s cartoon. We got voice actors from the TV show and everything. This game does not have any actors from the movie voicing any of the characters. One of the glaring red flags that I've seen is that there was no CGI cutscene anywhere in this game. No intro, no cutscenes during the game. Everything is in the engine. And most games back in the day would have a CGI cutscene to give you an idea of what the game should be playing like in your imagination, because you already know it's gonna be janky as hell. Playing through this game made me realize something about games of this era. A lot of developers probably had many ambitious ideas, but due to limitations on the consoles at the time, some of them were executed poorly. When you look at the things you can do on this game and you put them down on paper, you are Blade. You have the sword that you can pull out at will. You can switch to weapons on the fly. If you don't have any ammo, you can use hand-to-hand combat to solve these problems in front of your faces. And the problems that happen to be in your faces expand on the movie's world. You have these different gangs of vampires, these factions. You have the familiars that they have on their side. You have crooked police. You have, I don't even know what to call them. Whenever Karen fell into that pit and her coworker turned into like a zombie, you have those in this game. You have boss fights. All this looks great on paper, and while I'm playing this game, I understand what's going on. I'm sitting up here running through these areas. I'm seeing the markings on the wall that show the territory of the faction that you're dealing with. You're talking to different bosses on the phone, like different heads of each faction, and they're like talking like some type of vampire mafia. This is all good to me, but I can imagine that back in the day when you're making comparisons to other games that utilized their assets in a better way, I understand why the ratings for this game were nasty. As a voyager of vintage games, I have more consideration for these retro games, and I also look at the time period in which they were released. I see the effort in this game. Shout out to Hammerhead. If nobody gave y'all props, I will, because I see that y'all were aiming for a vision. But there's 3 things that hold this game back. First off is the production. This game came out a few months after that Spider-Man game dropped on PS1, the legendary game that I talk about from time to time. That game has cutscenes, narration by Stan Lee, secrets, homages, and characters and items that spread across the entire Spider-Man mythos. This game does not do the same thing for Blade. I understand that the source material is a lot slimmer than Spider-Man's when it comes to Blade, but we got this whole epic movie that came out years before. We got Blade, Whistler, and a bunch of vampires that we've never heard of before. You got Deacon Frost showing up as a foul in the menu if you beat the game. And that's about it. Other than that, you're in the world that's set up by the movie with the vampire mafia families. And then we got a bunch of levels strung together so Blade can have a night on the town. The next thing that was a major flaw in this game for me while I played through it is the difficulty balance. When you start this game, the learning curve is steep. I'm talking about if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna die fast. That's because the enemies in this game do damage. And when I say damage, you can die in 2 hits. I don't know if it's regional. Like, I want to say that Blade can get like hit or shot in the head and they get bonus damage on him. Because sometimes you can take some damage, but sometimes you damn near die instantly depending on the enemy that's in front of you. It's these dudes that wear these blue shirts. They kept murking me back to back in some of these missions. It's some enemies that carry guns. It's some robots, like surveillance robots that hang up in the corner and it seems like they're shooting at you with machine guns or mini guns. And then some of the bosses can damn near kill you instantly. But on the flip side, damn near everybody in the game can be killed instantly if you got the right weapons for the job or the right equipment. There would be instances where I'd be cutting through the game like butter. I learned a few combos. I know what the weaknesses of the enemies are. And then all of a sudden, the health drops would dry up. This is a game that uses medical items. Blade is using syringes, serums, all types of different, I'm gonna say quote unquote potions as health items. You can use them to fill up your health bar or your rage meter. The more rage you have, the more precise your weapons are. I want to say you get some bonus damage too. The lower it is, the less accurate you are. You could pretty much call it a stamina bar. In the later parts of the game, the items get so scarce that I end up hugging the walls and coming around the corners slowly or dragging the enemies out one by one when there's a crowd. It turned into an entirely different game. I don't know if it was meant to be like survival horror part of the game because most of the game is action, but whenever you get to those parts where you're not finding those items, it gets horrific real quick. The third thing that's stopping this game from obtaining greatness is its release date. November 2000, like I said earlier, 2 years after the movie was released. Now, I'm not a professional marketer, but I'm pretty sure that whenever you have a rollout for something, you probably want to keep everything relatively close with the releases. Also, we were in the process of transitioning into a new generation of game consoles. The Dreamcast was having crispy, smooth ports from arcades. We're seeing previews for games that are about to come out in 2001. The GameCube, the PlayStation 2. You're seeing Super Smash Bros, Metal Gear Solid being previewed, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and these graphics are blowing everything away on the PS1 and the N64. What that means is this game released in November of that year. The PS2 and GameCube were already out. The Dreamcast has been out also. We have all these heavy hitters that are going to come out for all of those systems. And this game comes out at the tail end of the PS1's era. I don't know if you want to call that a swine song for it, but it definitely led to poor sales and everybody pretty much overlooking this game to prepare for what was coming out the next year. Now that we've went through the bitter stuff, let's talk about some of the sweet things that this game has to offer. The level variety is nice. You're gonna be running through a plethora of different types of environments. I'm talking cruise ships, warehouses, cities, sewers, old ruins. You even get you a nice section where you get to play with Whistler. Some of these levels are linear, some of them are non-linear, and some of them are like crazy mazes. You also get a nice soundtrack while you're running around these levels. They range from techno electric music like the one you hear in the nightclub from the movie, or it goes to these somber, atmospheric, ambient, horrific noises while you're running through Chinatown fighting zombies. While it's clunky at times, Me personally, whenever I got the combat system down, I actually enjoyed it. To me, I'm a fan of Fighting Force, and the gameplay, it felt like Fighting Force mixed with Resident Evil. Sometimes you'll be running around with the third person camera, fighting, shooting, slicing with swords, and then sometimes it'll like pan out and then you'll get this fixed camera and then you'll have to run around with tank controls for a second. While the plot of the game isn't related to the movie, I did enjoy the streamlined style of the game. When I say that, I mean that every level is put together and you progress through the game by jumping through different places. Blade does not take a break. This is a night on the job. You're gonna go from the warehouses, you're gonna jump on the subway, you're gonna go down into the sewers and go to another part of town, talk to Whistler on the earpiece, and then proceed to the next level. I beat the game in about 7 hours. The ending tries to pay homage to the movie, but honestly, this shit is hilariously anticlimactic. Oh my god.
Daywalker. My name is Blade.
That's literally it. The rest of the game is me laughing at the credits because they caught me off guard. I don't know if that came from the effort being put into making this game or the resources provided to make this game. But anyways, man, this is one game that I wish that could be remade with today's capabilities and the backing that I know Marvel could put behind them. I mean, I'm talking like alternate costumes for Blade, cameos from characters throughout the Marvel universe, whether it's based on a movie or if it's a standalone title. I know Arcane is supposed to be coming out with a Blade game. Arcane is known for having open-minded gameplay. Hopefully that could work in their benefit. They said that it's not going to be a first-person shooter, so maybe it's going to make them go somewhere where they haven't been in a long time at least, because I just know them for like Dishonored and Deathloop and Redfall. I don't think they want you to know about it. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Shout out to you for tuning in. If you made it all the way to the end, feel free to like it so it could get sent to anybody else that likes these types of videos that represent this retro gaming culture. Make sure you turn on those notifications also, so whenever I post what's next, it'll come through in a text. And I'm gonna catch y'all later. Be safe though, and y'all stay keeper. Whoa! Before Resident Evil 4, it was Blade.